On to West Ham. It looks like Julian Lopetegui is set to be sacked finally after some very disappointing performances over the course of this year. Will Graham Potter be the immediate replacement? Could you see that deal even happening before we talk again next week?
It's again just like Everton. There's so much speculation and rumour around this in the last 24 hours. Everybody has been saying that it's a done deal, but yet there's not a single comment from West Ham. It's strange. Normally, at this sort of stage of speculation, something would have been made clear. And also, photographs circulating yesterday of Tim Steiden, the sporting director, supposedly with Graham Potter in a hotel near West Ham's ground. Now, I don't know how old that photograph is. It could have been from last month or before last summer when they were talking about new managers then. So there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumour. This one does seem to be carrying a lot of strength. Some very, very reliable media outlets are taking it. My own contacts have said, yes, it looks like it's going to be happening. Also, the rumour, of course, is can West Ham be pipped at the post if Everton wanted Graham Potter as well? So that's another story that's getting some legs at the moment. So a lot of speculation from both clubs. Of course, this is exactly the sort of story that journalists and media outlets love. And so they're going to stir it up as much as they can. But at the moment, I'm trying to maintain, strictly factually based and just really try and work out what really is happening. There's no doubt Potter would be on the list, I believe, for Everton. Apparently he's an Everton fan, is what I've heard from his background. But we'll see. I also believe his wife is very well known to Karen Brady. So we'll see what happens with that. But at the moment, nothing factually to report. And as you say, by next week, I would think there would be something factually to report from both sides. It does seem that Potter, in my opinion, could be a very good fit for West Ham. I think that would work well for them. And the rumours have been Dan Ashworth and Potter reuniting as they did in Brighton to come back to Everton. So there's a race on, but there's lots of other options. And say this is just gossip, but there's a lot of other options for Everton. There's also the Tesic option. There's lots of other names in the frame. And I'm sure that the Friedkins have got some very good advisors assisting them right now and getting to the right decision. But it does seem that they've got to make a decision either way. It's either, do you stick with Dyche and support him, extend his contract, give him some fresh players? That may calm things down and get the squad moving. And stability is always key, and he has managed the escape in the last 2 seasons. Or do you get somebody else in right now and freshen that up as well? The worst thing of all would be to make no decision. And I think that's going to be the problem that they've got right now, is they know now the clock is ticking. There's only 18, 19 games left, and they've got to get this right. And so it's a big decision to get so early in your tenure as owners. And, maybe they could have moved to get some people in place at the executive level to give them the advice and the knowledge of the club. But there's no doubt, as I say, making no decision is the worst case of all. So it's either, support Dyche, sack him or back him, basically, is the idea.
And on the West Ham front, they've posted a revenue of £270 million after releasing accounts for 2023-2024. What have you made of those figures, considering how much they spent this summer? And does that actually mean that there is some room still in PSR for them to spend this January if they were to back a new manager who might come in?
Yeah, look, you're talking about still the Declan Rice, big number to Arsenal, and West Ham had European football as well. They did quite well. I think they were up to quarterfinals. So yes, they've done well. They're very good financial results. They're reasonably strong, and West Ham have got some room, despite the spending that they've had. I think they do have some room still. Not all the signings have paid off, particularly up front, and they've also had the Antonio accident, which was a very unfortunate situation. So I think they'll be looking up front more than anything else right now. But there is some room at West Ham to do something, and they're going to be safe though for this season. And so the urgency may not be to spend big in January, but just to make sure they've got some options up front as well to support the squad, and then look to spend probably a lot more in the summer. And of course, we're talking about, will there be a new manager in place? I mean, as you say, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week. But if there is a new manager in place, then I'd expect them to support him more in the summer than I would do in January, because they don't seem to be in really any imminent threat right now of slipping down the table.